Hey folks, we're going to do some game design here. We're building characters. Oh, we got a playtest on Saturday, so making some pre-gen characters to make it easy for people to jump into the martial power system and play with us. So give me a second here to check my signal. If you're already familiar or you're catching this in the future, you can skip ahead like a minute to skip the intro and me like pressing buttons and stuff, and then we'll get into it. So doing a okay, cool. Sounds like I'm going to come through okay on the microphone. I've got the volume down so I don't get in the way, but in just a moment here, we'll be up and running. Boop, 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 boop. Pressing buttons. Boop, 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 and press enter. And okay, cool. That should be good to go. So hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. And we're creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. That's publishing on the DMsGuild. Let's see. Let me fix my screen here real quick. If you think today is fun stuff, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. Hey, new subscribers. Thanks a lot, guys. Let's see. Here is the playtest document that we're going to be using today here in Google Docs. Here's our full playlist of the martial power system under development. Here's my Discord community where you can join and play. Patreon, join if you want to support. And here is a stack of books that we've already created that are on the DMsGuild. They're all free previews. Be welcome to check them out. If you think they're cool and you want to use them in your game, consider making a purchase to support more behavior like this in the future. So going back up here, let's look at the playtest document. Click. It's a read-only document for you guys. Once this is published, it'll be 100% free preview, just like everything else that I build. We'll be adding it to the Magic the Gathering 5-color mana spell point variant rule bundle that we have here on DMsGuild. This replaces the Vancian Magic 8 Schools of Magic and the spell slot system of Dungeons & Dragons, and replaces it with the 5-color mana spell point variant rules, emulating the color mana system that Magic the Gathering made famous. Both MTG and D&D are owned by Wizards of the Coast, and there are 3 campaign settings from the MTG universe that are already published for D&D: Ravnica, Theros, and Strixhaven. So that opens the door for us to be able to create color mana language, which we have done abundantly. If you take a look here, we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. This one's kind of just a fun little coupon. If you buy it, you get discounts. And Knights and Tricksters is using the mana system for Eldritch Knights and Arcane Tricksters specifically. Elemental Key uses the color mana system, but also offers a 4-element system of air, earth, fire, and water. Point Warlocks has gone gold medal. Thanks a lot, guys, for gold medal status. This converts Warlocks from the Pact magic system that we know in the Player's Handbook into a mana point, a short rest mana system with a long rest Mystic Arcanum system that works really well together. And here is the revised 5-color magic spell list. It's free preview. You can check it out here. It's a pay what you want. It basically teaches you the tenets of how color magic works, what defines color magic, what type of damage is associated with each color. And so between damage and philosophies of color of each color, we get a matrix of every spell. This is 2014, but we had a stream where we updated the 2024 list. It's a white, blue, black, red, and green. Like, for example, Acid Splash deals acid damage. We can see here, according to thousands of Magic the Gathering cards, damage types that are typically associated with monsters or effects that are acidic are going to be black and green magic. So we see Acid Splash is a black and green spell. Even though it doesn't cost any mana to use it, everything in the MTG universe is defined by its color, including creatures, philosophies, your like alignment system. It's all color based. So you literally have a visual reference for how people act, what they're doing, what kind of magic they're using, what kind of magical effects are on things. And then the core mechanics book, these all need to get updated for 2024, which will be one of our next projects when we finish the Eberron adventure that we're working on in the morning. Once that's done, we'll then have an open plate for us to start rebuilding all of the color mana system stuff. But the core mechanics book is the deep dive into all the spellcasting classes using color magic and the basic rules of it, which we've been using for the past 7 years actively at my home table. There's a lot of cool stuff that we can do with it. So check the stuff out if you think it's cool. Just proof for the pudding about free previews. If you click the full size preview, it'll open up all 75 pages of the document, and you can see here that you can kick through the entire book. It uses our original, the original magic system we had was that each spell was defined by only one color. But after about 3 years of use, we found that it was far more flexible to just look at the general ideas and how the colors, instead of picking one, we had pick all the ones that seem relevant. So very few spells are only one color. Some spells are all 5 colors, and there's a mix of anywhere from 2 to 4 colors in between as well. So all the classes, a lot of artwork in the book that we create here on stream as well. Changing class features to make the system work with you. The whole book is here. You can check out all the subclasses. And again, we're going to update all this. I've also learned a lot about layouts since we created this book, so I can make it a lot prettier since we first created it. But this whole system is here for you guys to explore and enjoy if you wish. But this is just the spellcasters. The problem is that martial characters don't have a mana system, so you can't really express your character in a color mana system without just saying, yeah, I'm blue and green. It's like, okay, that's cool, but there's no mechanical weight behind it, which is what makes color mana so freaking cool. So that's why we have the martial power system that we're developing. And again, you can access the martial power system as a read-only document on Google right now. Right here, you can play along with us. Hey, what's up? Dark Moon Warrior 2. Is there some sort of demo available for the color mana system? It sounds very neat, but I want to make sure it's good for my table before I buy it. You know what? That is a great question. And so let's go to Google. Let's go to YouTube real quick here, and let's see. We got babies with knives, color mana. Let's see what happens here. There's a playtest that I have. I ran a 6-hour like a 6-hour camp adventure, and I'm not finding it here offhand. Let's see. Babies with knife. Tap, untap, burn. Table size, character creation, interview, actual play part 1, actual play part 2. So I will give you, here's a page. Okay, that seems to have been goof. There we go. Yeah, you can check out the interview. This is a number of years old, and this was when the system first developed. So we've evolved a lot since then, but there's character creation, and then there's the actual play part 1 and actual play part 2. I created an adventure in Eberron, and the team ran through it. A team as a sorcerer, a warlock, a paladin, and a elemental monk using the 2014 rules. They're all 6th level. It was a one-shot, ways to use mana to overcome traps, to trigger puzzles during combat, and it was just a little narrative. So yeah, you can check all this stuff out if you think, and you're of course welcome to join my Discord channel if you would like to tag along and sing a song with us here on my Discord. It's an invite link. You can jump in and join if you want and ask questions. There's a tab for color mana and martial powers. And again, you can look at the entire system and take a look at it. I've been using it at my home table for 7 years, and there's a number of people on my Discord that use it in their campaigns at their home table as well. We've had a lot of opportunities to iron out any of the any difficulties that people have come up with, which are very few. It's a pretty intuitive system. So yeah, you are very welcome, my guy. So we are creating, we are going to, let me peel this out of the way for a second. So I run I'm running a playtest campaign on my Discord server on Saturday mornings. It's an old school mega dungeon style adventure where we're basically just going through, like, this is the first zone of the dungeon that the team has already defeated. And we have here, like in our staging area, They had to kill a bunch of orcs and hobgoblins in this dungeon here to get access to this facility. And then this is the danger bridge that leads across to the actual, like the unconquered areas of the dungeon. So the team will play for about 3.5 hours. They'll tarot through the dungeon as far as they can go, beating up monsters, collecting treasure and stuff. And then at the end of the session, we withdraw for our long rest back at what we now have established as home base. And this Saturday, I think the team is going to defeat the second zone and start exploring zone 3. We started at 3rd level. They just gained 4th level. And we should be running that campaign through 10th level until probably July. So as long as I have at least 3 people, and I can typically run a table of 3 to 5 people fairly efficiently to get through maybe 3 to 5 combat, as well as like explore rooms for traps and stuff like that. Social interaction when it arises. Yeah, it's just D&D. We're just playing D&D, but we're using the mana system. So we are going to peel open one of these sample player sheets that we have. We're going to build a rogue today. So we're going to go. This isn't premeditated. I'm just kind of off the cuff. So forgive me if I'm a train wreck. But the basic system, it uses the half-casting scaffold of 5 ranks of power that you accumulate. 1, 5, 9, 13, 17 gets you from rank 1 to 5. The power die is a martial arts die, superiority die, bardic inspiration die that increases in value as you gain levels. If you'll notice, it doesn't match the quality, like the size that a bard would have or that a monk would have, because this martial power system basically lets you do pretty much anything that any kind of martial character can do, but you're not as good as the other characters are at it. Like anyone can do like a 2014 style paladin smite, but it's worse than what the actual paladin can do. The paladin in this system can do what you expect it to do in the Player's Handbook 2024, including being able to clock up to like 9 dice worth of damage at 17th level. But none of the other classes can do that. All the other classes can at best get to like 5 dice worth of damage. So the paladin is still the king of smite, but anybody can use any attack and throw mana at it. We gain mana on a short rest, like the Warlock and the Point Warlock system, as well as the Monk does. You gain 1 point per level that you gain on a short rest, which doesn't sound very good, but again, if you're familiar with the stream and these developments, Empowered Actions allows you to sacrifice action economy to generate mana that you can use during that turn. So if I don't move, I can generate a free point of mana. If I sacrifice my bonus action, depending on what level I am or my max rank that I have as a caster or as a channeler, determines how much mana I can generate. But then I would have to use like my standard action or use it during attacks. Because if I'm going to sacrifice my movement and I'm going to sacrifice my bonus action, the only thing I have left is my action, which could either just be like a magic action for using a maneuver or could be my attacks. And then during my attacks, I would then be able to use that mana to either deal more damage or improve my attack, improve my chances to hit, for instance. So those are ways you can use. And then if you're actually using attack action, you can sacrifice attacks to gain free mana. So if I'm an 11th level fighter, I take the attack action and then sacrifice all 3 of my attacks. I'll get 3 mana to use during my turn, which would have to be spent as a bonus action or during my movement. And then my round would be over and the temporary mana gets dumped. But this is a really good way. Like if all I need to do, like when I was playing a Battle Master at 6th level in one of my friend's campaigns, I would stay backline with a ranged weapon. And if I wasn't going to be more effective than what the frontline fighters would be, I would sacrifice my action and my bonus action to be able to generate mana and then give somebody else either better chances of hitting or additional attacks or giving them additional movement or shielding them so that they could tank the damage better. So there's a lot of really fun ways that you can manipulate the system. And then we have the total number of prepared powers. This includes your fighting styles, your weapon masteries from 2024, as well as actually acquiring powers themselves. And you start with 4 and you'll end up with 23 at the end of your 20 level stack. Another cool caveat, which we'll get into when we build this character in particular, is instead of preparing a power that requires mana, you can actually just take feats. You can just stack up a shitload of feats. And if you don't want to mess around with mana at all, you can just deck your character out with all the feats that you could possibly want across the course of your character's life. And then every time you actually gain a feat at 4, like 4, 8, 12, 6, 20, you can actually take feats that increase your stats instead of having to worry about, like, how am I going to get Great Weapon Master and how am I going to get Polearm Master and Sentinel? How am I going to get those 3 feats onto my character? Well, you could have all of them at first level, which isn't really any better than, say, dealing an extra 2d8 damage when I hit you in combat. So there's the feats are like basically ongoing passive bonuses. There's also, you can prepare damage types. So at first level, you could prepare being able to deal acid damage at will. So now the DM has a lot of ability to like make creatures immune to things, have more resistances, or become vulnerable, or even have a lethality against different damage types. If a creature has lethality against, say, fire damage, all you have to do is 1 point of fire damage and it dies. So that any creature in the game, if you give it lethality, it can become a minion. So at low levels, an ogre might be a big problem, but like around 7th level, maybe the DM just starts tacking lethalities onto ogres that you fight because it's so trivial, like in 4th edition, it becomes so trivial to fight an ogre, you may as well just wade through them. So then you can just assign them a point of damage, and then you use minion rules of if they like save, they don't take any damage. If they fail, they take at least 1 point of damage and then they die. So you can manipulate the game mechanics on the back end as a DM to utilize all these abilities for your monsters to create unique monster kits, which we have in the DM section further down in the document. And again, this whole thing's available for you to read along with. If you just click here, it'll open up that document for you. So we're going to build a rogue today using the 2024 rules. We'll see how far along in the process I can get today. I'm going to, when I built this, it took about an hour and a half for me to walk through all the directions and all the choice decisions and mechanics that went into making a Battle Master fighter. I don't quite have that much time today, so I'm going to streamline the process a little bit and just focus on the stuff that we're going to get primarily from the rogue. And then if I have time, we'll start filling in like a Ravnica or a Strixhaven background and your species and all that other stuff. But I'll be doing that off screen. If I don't have time today to do that, we'll do that off screen for myself, and the character will be loaded up again here in Roll20 for you guys to make use of. There's this whole stack of characters. So let's see. So again, looking at the, let's get past all of these. Fighter, and we have all the monk stuff in here. We've also done all the 2014 subclasses that weren't renewed for 2024 yet. We're building hypotheticals for those. Obviously, Wizards is going to get around to building all of them eventually, but they're going to leave some behind. So the Forsaken subclasses, as we call them. If you would go on the DMsGuild, I was part of the participants who created the Subclasses Revivified product that's still like in the top 10 of best-selling DMsGuild products right now. And I had the opportunity to play with the monk. And from that, I was able to create all these variants using the mana system instead of just typical 5e. So that's my 20-minute timer. So let's cue that up. And where are we at? We have the 4 elements. Kinsei. I love Kinsei. Get dust, all of the monk stuff. Did I go? How did I get down? How did I get down into monks? Oh, wait. Is it Ranger, Rogue? Am I crazy? I feel crazy. Okay, if Rogue isn't down here, something's going wrong. There we are. Cool. Okay, so the Rogue, it has the same progression, 1 mana per level. You start with 4 powers. You end up with 23 at the end. All the class features in the 2024 Player's Handbook are as written unless they are modified. If it's not listed on the class features list here, it's no longer relevant. So like Cunning Strikes, for instance, we removed Cunning Strikes and replaced it with Cunning Power. In the new Player's Handbook 24, Cunning Strikes allows you to sacrifice sneak attack dice to have a condition effect. that you trigger on people. And so we had already had that established, but once the 24 book came out, we recalibrated the math to make sure it sticks and complies with what, so it basically has the same power scaling as what Cunning Strikes did. We had our own original power scaling, but since like when they introduced the Paladin for 24, we had to reconfigure how the Paladin works so that it matches with the power scaling you should expect for your Paladin. Same thing here. We had to recalibrate it so it matches the curve of power that the Rogue can now use with its Cunning Strikes. We can now use with Cunning Power in this edition. So, and you won't have, we're only at 4th level right now, so we don't even have Cunning Strikes yet. So it doesn't even really matter. But it will be relevant in about 2 or 3 sessions. They'll be 5th level. So just to walk through the quick features, everything that is in the player's handbook is as it stands. So I'm going to peel this open, bounce down to here. Let's get haste out of the way. Don't need that right now. That's the Paladin. We don't need that right now. Let's go to classes, and let's go down to the Rogue. There we go. Here's our feats, so I want to keep those open in case we need that. Rogue, okay, cool. So let's see. Expertise still works as intended. Sneak attack is still the same. Thieves' Cant is the same. And weapon mastery. So again, weapon mastery is now a prepared ability. On top of that, as a sort of here, I'm going to pull these out, and then let's take this. So we get down into our list of prepared powers that we'll be getting into. There we go. Okay, so again, we have 4 prepared powers, and that includes weapon masteries and any powers that you want, as well as fighting styles. And a cool kicker effect of this system is that if you are proficient with a weapon, you automatically can use the weapon mastery that's a property of that weapon. But in addition, you can prepare masteries so that if like say I prepare cleave, I can then use the cleave mastery with any weapon I'm proficient with that qualifies. And for cleave, it's any melee weapon. It's very possible for you to take a dagger and slash one guy's throat and slash another guy's throat that's next to it. There's no reason you'd have to use a heavy weapon to do that. So if you hit a creature with a melee attack, you can then make a melee attack with the weapon against a second creature within 5 feet of the first that is also within your reach. The second attack can use a weapon mastery, but not a strike power, because strike powers and weapon masteries are cantrips, where strike powers are considered spells. You can't cast a spell and a cantrip in the same action. So similarly here, if you use a weapon mastery, it doesn't cost any mana to use it, but you can't also stack it with a strike power unless you have a feature that allows you to do so. Like the Martial Strike, for instance, allows you to ramp damage with mana and use a weapon mastery, because the Martial Strike doesn't do anything other than ramp damage and allow you to use a weapon mastery. Like Burning Strike catches you on fire and deals fire damage to you. So like that's an effect that it causes. So you don't do that and have a weapon mastery, because you're kind of double dipping. So you want to have sensible rules put in place, and you get all these free uses of masteries. So double stacking with strike powers as well is, with this system, overclocking your ability. So you have a specific power you can use to do that if you want to, which denies you the other 20 strike options that are available. So you're picking your format with this. So rules, they're important. But you can prepare any of these things. Like, for example, you could prepare the Nick property, but you must be dual wielding light weapons or unarmed attacks to use it. So again, it stays within the rules of what the Nick mastery is supposed to be able to do, but we also opened it up so that unarmed attacks or melee light weapons or natural and unarmed attacks only. So natural weapons should be able to use this, so should unarmed attacks. So I needed to add that language in there. See, we're still in the process of editing this. As part of the attack, the second attack can use a weapon mastery, but not a strike power. So if I'm using Nick, I can hit with a light weapon, and then I can Nick as part of that action. And then since it's a melee weapon that I'm using, that second one can use a mastery, but not a strike. So then if I also had cleave, for instance, on that Nick attack, I could then use cleave. And so the cleave is using the Nick attack, and then cleave triggers. So I could technically have 3 attacks, but they're not going to be doing a lot of damage. So fun. The second attack can use a weapon mastery, but not a strike power. It's also within your reach. Yeah, fun combo. So we'll probably go with cleave and Nick to stack those effects up. Hey, what's up? With the 2024 changes, I need to update my home monk version. Hey, right on. I like almost everything that they've done with 2024. I like it. It's a little chaotic and a little inconsistent, but mechanically, I like the ideas that they're putting together. It opens up a ton of design space for homebrew and third-party content like this to really just be able to explore concepts and different type of mechanics and resource systems. Is a lot of fun. So, over here, right? So Rogue, we still have our expertise. We still have the sneak attack as usual. We still have Thieves' Cant. That hasn't changed. We get power over precision, and I will explain that in a second. And of course, the channeling feature, which is being able to use martial powers. So mana, you gain 1 per level. Martial powers begin at first level. You learn 4 first rank powers of the martial power list. You gain additional powers as you gain levels up to your maximum channeling rank as listed in the martial powers progression table above. You can swap 1 prepared power for another whenever you finish a long rest, and you can swap all prepared powers when you gain a level. That's how I do bards, warlocks, sorcerers, and all the martial power characters, including paladin and ranger. You can swap 1 per rest, and when you gain a level, you can swap them all. So there's a difference there between the cleric, druid, and wizard being able to swap all of their prepared spells when they finish a long rest. And then all these other guys can slowly swap their stuff out on a day-by-day basis. Here's the power over precision class feature. Starting at first level, you can reduce the amount of dice you roll when dealing sneak attack damage to temporarily gain additional mana. You can add 1 point of mana to your pool for every sneak attack damage die you sacrifice this way. This can increase your mana pool above the maximum total. When you finish a short or long rest, any mana gained from this feature is lost, and you regain all sneak attack damage sacrificed this way. You can regain any number of sneak attack dice before taking a short or long rest at any time during your turn by sacrificing an equal amount of mana to regain the sneak attack. So I think I need to clarify this. Now, starting at first level, you can reduce the amount of dice you roll when dealing sneak attack damage. You can let's see. You can. It's permanent until you take a rest. So how am I supposed to word that? Starting at first level, you can reduce the amount of damage, the amount of dice you roll when dealing sneak attack. Like, the language is neutral, but I'm trying to, let's see, temporarily gain additional mana. Oh, this is how we should do that. Here we go. Sacrificing sneak attack dice this way is permanent until... There, that's a better way of wording it. Until you finish a short or long rest. Any mana gained from this feature is lost, and you regain all sneak attack dice until you finish your short or long rest. When you do, there we go. I'll catch up with you in a second. When you do, any mana gained from this feature is lost, and you regain all sneak attack damage dice sacrificed this way. There you go. You can regain any number of, in addition, Alternatively, you can regain any number of sneak attack dice before taking a short or long rest at any time during your turn by sacrificing an equal amount of mana, an amount of mana equal to the number of sneak attack dice. Number of sneak attack dice recovered. There you go. So if I was 5th level and I wanted to sacrifice all 3 of my sneak attack dice, I would get 3 extra mana to spend as I want. That's important because if I don't anticipate having any combat, but I want to have a little bit of extra mana to juice my ability checks or saving throws while exploring or in social interactions in town, for instance, I could drop my sneak attack dice to gain extra mana, and then when I'm done shopping, I could take a short rest to get my sneak attack dice back, drop the extra mana if I had any left, and then go off an adventure with my sneak attack equipped again. So hey, what's up? See, my whole philosophy right now is every martial class needs a lot more choice. Hell yeah. So I'm basically giving every martial class battle master, very much so. I really like what I have done with Monkville. Cool. May have slightly overtuned it into the defensive beast in the process, though. You know, that's what playtesting is for. I've already playtested this system from level 16 to 20 with my home table, and we ran a hex crawl system for a number of sessions during level 6 and 7. That clocked well, and now that 24 has come out, we've retooled the entire document, and I want to run I'm going to run from level 3 to 10 just to make sure that everything feels the way that we want to. And we have found all sorts of ways to improve the language and to improve the efficiency and to make all the gears mesh together much more efficiently. So it's turning into a pretty good beast at this point. But that's power over precision, and that's the only change that the class has until level 5. Which is when you're using sneak attack, you can sacrifice dice to gain temporary mana to be able to trigger effects. So, and then you could add on to it as well. But that's the basics of the rogue, so it's pretty simple. Let's go back into our character here. Character name is going to be Rogue. We'll go level 4 Rogue. I don't know what subclass I want. I know we're going to make it Demir Rogue, which is blue-black energy, and it's sneaky types. I could go Arcane Trickster, but that's complicated. Integrating spells into the mana system is like a more advanced feature, and I want to keep this one like super simple. So like all we're going to do is extra feats, and any powers that you get, we're going to make free to use. So I'm going to skip past. We're going to build we'll build an Arcane Trickster later, but for now we're making just the most simple type character that's easy. Just you read it, you understand it. There's no complexity. Soul Knife is okay. Assassin is strong contender, but let's see. Assassin. Do we want to go Assassin, or do we want to go Thief? Let's look at the class features. So we get Skulker as a feat, and we get Trap Sprainer, which gives us bonuses to find and disable traps, which we'll look at. And then we get at 3rd level, which is all we have right now, Fast Hands. As a bonus action, you can do one of these things: slide a hand, or use an object, take the Utilize action, or the Magic action to use a magic item that requires an action. That's not bad. And then second story work is you gain climb speed equal to your speed, and you can determine your jump distance using your dexterity rather than your strength. Those aren't bad. Let's go look at the assassin real quick. Because either one of these could be Demir really easily. When you choose this, let's see, we get the Poisoner feat, and we can automatically deal poison damage with our attacks if we choose, which is very flavorful for the assassin. And then we get the features. Oh yeah, assassin tool. I don't know why assassinate is in front of. Why is that there? Hold on. Let's go visit the rogue real quick. Assassinate. That's why. And assassin tools, and then infiltrate expertise. Where'd you go? Level 3. There you go. Okay, so you excel at ambushing creatures, granting you the following features. Initiative. You roll initiative with advantage, and during the first round of combat, your attack rolls have advantage against any creatures that has not taken a turn. And then surprising strikes. During the first round of combat, your sneak attack deals extra damage equal to your rogue level. Damn, man, that's really nice. And we're level 4 now, so that's +4. That's not nothing, but it's also only 1. So we'll probably expect around 3 or 4 battles. And then Assassin Tools, you gain the Disguise and the Poisoner's Kit. And you have proficiency with them. Let's go with Thief. I think, because there's magic items that the team's acquiring, I think Thief will be more useful. So I keep screen flipping like that. Why do I keep screen flipping like that? Because I expect this to be on a separate screen. So Rogue, Thief. And then class is Rogue. And the playtesters can change this guy's name to whatever they want. We're gonna skip stats for now because it's not super critical. We do know that we're gonna have 4 mana, which is going to be blue and black. And because we are a thief, we're going to get a climb speed equal to our base speed. And now we have spells, feats, and powers. Feats. And we get the bonus Skulker feat. Powers, which is Trap Springer. Which is a sustained first rank power. Let's go look at Trap Springer real quick so we know what we're talking about. Shan't we? Okay, so sustained powers are self-buff effects that do not require concentration. You can stack them. Since your character can have... Actually, I can leave it on the thief here and instead go over here. Okay, so first rank, 5th level, 2nd rank, 9th level, 3rd rank, etc. This is the maximum rank of power, like a spell level. It's also the maximum amount of mana that you can put into any specific power at any particular time. Like if I have an exploit that gives me additional damage that costs a point of mana, spend a point of mana, gain advantage to attack. That's an exploit. And then if I hit, a strike power costs 1 mana to deal extra damage and cause an effect. That's a separate power that also costs 1 mana. As long as each power that I'm utilizing during the course of my character's actions doesn't exceed the individual max mana limit, I can go ahead and keep using them as long as I have mana left over. So when I burn out of mana, I'm out of luck. If I'm using action economy to generate mana, then of course I have new mana every turn if I want to use it. So in the case of sustained powers, each sustained power costs a number of mana equal to its rank, but I can stack them. So at 5th level, when we gain 5th level, I have 2nd rank available. I can either have a single 2nd rank sustained power active on my character, or I could have 2 1st rank powers stacked on my character active at the same time. There's no concentration. It stays active until I am incapacitated or it's dispelled. Either incapacitated because I'm knocked out and dropped to 0 hit points, or I start a long rest. If I am sustaining a power through short rest, I don't get the mana back because while the power is sustained, it's considered tapped. So tapped mana isn't spent. It's being used. And only when I dismiss the power or I take or I'm incapacitated is the mana, have I finished using that mana, and I then take it out. It's then burned or removed from my mana pool. So in that way, you can control the use of mana, and you can't cheat and exploit by loading up on a bunch of powers that you can sustain and then get all that mana back. It's like, no, you're sustaining that power with your mana. So and you can't use action economy to generate mana to spend on sustained powers, because sustained powers are ongoing while temporary mana ends at the end of your turn. So all of these effects, other than the sustained powers, all of these effects are instant effects, and you don't maintain concentration on a target. Like if you blind a target, that blind stays on the target either for a minute without you having to maintain concentration on it, or until it ends. But they're far more limited than what spells can do. Casters maintain concentration on an effect because it really fucks you over, or it fucks over many targets at the same time, and it holds them in that space until they can get out of it. With this system, it's single target, and it's going to end in a minute no matter what, but if you get out of it early, you're done. So it's very flashbang, instant effect. Don't worry about maintaining it or paying attention to it. Just dump these effects on stuff and let them get out of it themselves. That's a big difference in how marshals work differently than spellcasters. So if you're multi-classing into a Gish that can do casting and powers, or like if you're a ranger or a paladin that can do powers and spells and sustained powers get in the way of each other. So if I'm sustaining 2 ranks of power at 5th level, I can't concentrate on a spell because I've already tied up both of my slots with sustained powers. If I'm concentrating on a 2nd level spell at 5th level, I don't have any space for me to sustain any powers. And in that sense, it's like water and oil, they don't mix, but they're still occupying the same container. So you have to make choices about what direction do I want to lean into, what kind of a build am I making for my character, which allows you to make a ton of choices. And this system actually curves very elegantly into spell casting because you don't get a lot of mana, but you can do super cool stuff with it. So a wizard fighter would be able to have both spells and mana that the fighter is going to get short rest back repeatedly. That could be fed into spells, while the wizard gets a big fat stack of mana to cast spells with quickly. But if you're only like 1st rank power as a fighter and like 7th level as a wizard, you're going to have like 60 mana on your stack because of your levels. But as a 1st rank fighter, you can only eke them out 1 point of a time in your action economy as a fighter. And if you're generating mana with your actions, it can't be spent on spells. It has to be spent on powers. So if you're going to ramp up your spell casting and you're going to let your power dwindle, that power is going to become a bottleneck that you can do cool stuff, but while you're doing that, you can't do anything with your spell casting. So all those spellcaster levels are going to waste. The martial stuff becomes a no shit button for you when you run out of mana to cast spells with. You can then fall back on your gishiness. Or you can learn how to weave the two together like the Paladin and the Ranger, Eldritch Knight, and the Arcane Trickster can, which is fun. But I see that I am rambling a lot and losing time. So let's get back on the stick. Let's see. Powers, we have Trap Springer. So let's look at what Trap Springer can do. Now that we know how sustained powers work, the Trap Springer sustained power is, while this power is sustained, you can search as a bonus action and gain advantage on any intelligence investigation or wisdom perception checks to notice traps. You automatically understand the general nature of any trap revealed this way, and you gain advantage on intelligence and dexterity checks using tools you're proficient with to disarm traps. So while this is active, you understand trap, reveal this way, and you gain advantage. So you can, let's see, search that bonus action and gain advantage. So this gives you a bunch of advantage stuff. So if I were to take expertise in, like say, either thieves tools or tinker tools, and either wisdom, either perception or investigation, both of those is going to help me a lot because I'll have expertise and advantage while this is active with that expertise feature to really be able to be good. And once I turn this on, it stays on. So I don't need to use my mana for anything else. I'll have at this level 4 mana laying around. And so if somehow my Trap Springer gets dropped, I have plenty of mana in reserve to just turn it back on again. But I could still only use 1 rank of power at a time to sustain things. That's a useful thing, and anyone can have that. Like the Battle Master I was running in my friend's campaign, I had Trap Springer on there because we didn't have a rogue. So I made myself a rogue by preparing Trap Springer, and now I'm suddenly really good at finding traps, which was useful for the team because there was a lot of them. So that came in handy. So Trap Springer is super good. And then we have Feat, which is Skulker, which gives us bonuses to hiding. We're going with the, let's see. Let's look at because we're going to go Dimir. We know we're going Dimir. So we're going to get Subtle Channeling and Beguiling Trance. So Subtle Channeling is a sustained power as well. When you use power, there's a visual effect. Either you flare magic in the colors of it, like in Dimir's case, it would be like blue and black magic that flares. Or like if you target somebody, they get wreathed or like have a crown of magical light around them. Or like if you're using acid damage as a prepared power on your weapon, the blade is dripping like black and green acid that dissipates as it drips from the blade. But there's always a visual tell. So if we go with the Subtle Channeling feature, where are you at? And where are you at? Oh, that's right. It's not sustained. It's a... hold on. It should be sustained, though. I think it's an exploit right now, but it should be sustained. Subtle Channeling. When you channel a power, there's no visual evidence that you are that you are the source. Currently, it's an exploit. Oh, that's right. That's right. It's an exploit on purpose. Sorry, I did want to make that an exploit so that it would cost you. It's expensive every time you channel a power. You have to add 1 point to it to make so that there's no visual evidence of it. So this leans into one of the things that we can do with powers, which is go down to our feat list and we're going to ignore that. Let's see. Go down to the feats. It's called Efficient Power. And Efficient Power reads, it's repeatable. You have to have the channeling class feature, which we do. Choose one power from the disciplines list and select this feat. When you channel the chosen power, you gain 1 temporary point of mana to do so. So a first rank power, like the Subtle Channeling exploit, we can spend Efficient Power as a feat to basically every time we channel Subtle Channeling, it generates a point of mana in the process to pay for itself. We could take Efficient Power with a third rank power, and it would basically pay for 1 point of mana for itself. So we only have to come up with 2 extra mana, either out of our pool or by expending action economy to generate the mana. So this lessens the cost, but it's doing so by generating mana, like action economy generates mana. So you can take this feat more than once, choosing a different martial power each time you select this feat. So that is really, it's a feat tax, basically, for you to always have this active. So feat, Subtle Channeling, Efficient Power, Subtle Channeling. There. So this becomes our first of the 7 powers that we have available. This one is free. We've used one of them so far. We could, if we wanted to, make Trap Springer free, but because it's already first rank, and it would still tie up that, because it doesn't reduce the cost, it generates mana for us. So it still ties up 1 rank of our stack of sustained powers, but we don't have to pay for it. But you only have to pay for it once. And once you've paid for it, it stays on, and we're not going to use mana for anything else other than sustained powers. So there's no reason for us to make it free, unless we were somehow super starved, but you have more mana than you need to sustain powers. So you should never need to spend mana on Efficient Power because it doesn't do anything for you. It just saves you a point. But when you take a short rest, you're going to spend that point anyway. So it doesn't actually ever save you anything. So there's that. So there's 1, and then we have 2, and then 3, and then 4, 5, 6, and we have a total of 7 powers that we gain. We gain Subtle Channeling from Dimir, and The other thing that we get is Beguiling Trance. Dimir equals a maneuver 1, Beguiling Trance. So let's go look at Beguiling Trance because fun. It's a maneuver. These are reactions, first rank. I think it's been a while since we looked at this. We might have to update, but I think Beguiling Trance is still first rank. Oof, maybe not. Oh shit, yeah, we push it all the way up to third. You can target a creature that you can see to make a wisdom saving throw. If it fails, it is charmed and cannot take actions until you no longer see it. You move beyond the range of the power, which by default is 60 feet. And it takes damage, or it succeeds a wisdom saving throw at the end of each of its turns. So as long as you don't touch them and mess with them, they stay asleep. So we made it third rank because there's no limit on how many creatures you're going to target with this. That's really powerful. So it was originally first rank, but we quickly discovered that's way too good. So I need to actually free that up and create. Where is that? There we go. I actually need to replace Beguiling Trance with something else. So let's see what something cool can be. Let's see. Well, we're in the maneuvers, so what feels Dimir and sneaky? Curse of the Clouded Mind. You curse a creature you can see to roll ability checks and attacks with disadvantage. The effect ends when the creature succeeds one of these rolls. The creature can also make an intelligence save at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect when it succeeds. That's pretty good. That might actually be worth second rank. I'm going to put a question mark behind that. That might need to be a second rank. Ooh, Distract. Target creature you can see and can see you cannot take reactions until it can no longer see you or it succeeds an intelligence saving throw at the end of each of its turns. That's not bad. Quick Help. You can help or use the ready action as a bonus action. That's really good. Shunt doesn't feel right. Rally doesn't feel right. Oh, Vanish, of course. You become invisible until the beginning of your next turn. No, that's a natural. So let's go with that. That's a maneuver. Basically, it just means that you're imposing disadvantage to attack you and you can't easily be seen. Mechanically, it just imposes disadvantage. That's all. And you gain advantage to attack while you're doing that. So it's a good effect, but it eats your bonus action. So it costs you a point. That's not bad. We're going to feat tax you for it. But I can do that as a bonus action or as a magic action. I can technically do it twice in the same turn, but there's no reason for me to do so. Vanish. You become invisible until the beginning of your next turn. There you go. And let's go to the Dimir list. Vanish. Maneuver 1. Save. Very nice. Okay, so that's 2. Dimir bonus, Dimir bonus. Thief. Bonus. Thief bonus. Dimir. Okay, and then we have 7. So we've technically cashed out all the things that we need to do. Let's start hunting. Let's start hunting for cool stuff to do. So if we could pick feats, we could pick damage types. We could pick combat mastery. Oh yeah, that's what I want to do. I definitely want to take a combat mastery. And the combat mastery I want to take is Vex. And I want to take Nick, and I want to take Nick, Vex, and Cleave. So let's take those 3 things. This is going to be a mastery, Nick, mastery, Vex, and mastery, Cleave. So if I'm using 2 light weapons, when I make an attack, I can attack with the light weapon as well using Nick. And when I hit with Nick, I can then use Cleave to do an extra attack at another target that's within 5 feet of myself. Let's read the ability again real quick. Reading the ability explains the ability. So looking at Cleave, if you hit a creature with a melee attack, you can make a melee attack roll with a weapon against a second creature within 5 feet of the first that is also within your reach. The second attack can use a weapon mastery, but not a strike power. So if I am using, and then we have Nick, which is dual wielding light weapons or natural and unarmed attacks only. You can make the offhand attack as part of the attack action instead of using a bonus action. The second attack can use a weapon mastery, but not take a strike power. So I could, with my primary weapon, I could Vex to hit and gain. If I hit, I gain advantage, which would then allow me to use Nick to trigger my sneak attack. And if I hit with that, I would then be able to trigger Cleave for a normal attack. So my rogue can pull off 3 attacks, but they're going to be with light weapons. And then using the rules of dual wielding, the offhand weapon, the Nick attack weapon, is only going to be the damage dice. It's not going to be adding damage. And the Cleave, I believe, is a full attack. Let's look that up real quick. If you hit a creature with a melee attack roll using this weapon, you can make a melee attack roll with the weapon against the second creature within 5 feet of you that is also within your reach. On a hit, the second creature takes the weapon damage, but don't add your ability modifiers to the damage unless that modifier is negative. You can make this extra attack only once per turn. Let's just grab and gank that. Oh my God, what a word salad. But it's important. We need to have everything properly documented. I was shorthanding this, but the time of shorthanding is coming to a close, and that was Cleave. Is that right? That was... Yeah, Cleave. Yep, there you go. Boy, that's wordy. There. If you hit a creature with a melee attack using the weapon, you can make a melee attack roll with the weapon against the second creature within 5 feet of the first that is also within your reach. On a hit, the second creature takes the weapon's damage, but don't add your ability modifiers to that damage unless that modifier is negative. You can make this extra attack only once per turn. The second attack can use a weapon mastery, but not a strike power. That's important so we aren't ramping damage for free. So we're not ramping damage off of a Cleave. And then while we're at it, let's go ahead and grab Nick. Thank you, Timely Timer. When you make an extra attack with a light property, you can make it a part of the attack action instead of the bonus action. You can make this extra attack only once per turn. Very simple. Nick. We make the extra attack. of the light property, you can make it as part of the attack action instead of as a bonus action. You can make this extra attack only once per turn. The second attack can use a weapon mastery, but not a strike power to keep it. Masteries are fine. It's ramping the damage more than your character should be able to do so is the problem. So, cool. That pans out. So far, so good. So stacking on a bunch of weapon masteries onto the character is sweet. So again, we get that combo where we could add Vex in after the cleave or after Nick or as part of the initial attack that sets up the Nick. All three of those have the option of using Vex, which triggers the sneak attack if I don't already have sneak attack active. So again, we're building a character that doesn't rely on mana. But we have a lot of masteries that are in effect right now. The feats, we're going to take bonus, which is Skulker. We're going to put this down as Thief. And then we're going to go with ASI. Let's see. 4th level equals ASI +1 +1. We can ramp up our ability checks with those, or our abilities with that. Let's see. Let's grab class and subclass features. Expertise. Expertise equals stealth. And we have wall climbing, so we don't need climbing skill for athletics. That's good. Investigation's not bad, but we're going to instead take Thieves' Tools. There you go. And then special features is channeling. And we're going to use dexterity as our channeling feature. The DC is going to be 8. Is going to be 10 because proficiency bonus is +2 plus ability plus dex. But we don't know our dex yet. It's probably going to be a 16. Dex is probably going to be a 16. Second story work equals gain climb speed, which we already have clocked up above. We have quick hands equals utilize magic, utilize sleight of hand, and what else? Use an object, sleight of hand. And then equals gain climb speed and use dex for jumping. There we go. And we have get out of here. Channeling class feature. We have power over precision. Swap up to 3 SA dice for 3 mana. Regain. Revert on a short, long rest. We already have expertise. Channeling. There you go. I don't think it has anything else. Sneak attack, of course. $3d6. Cool. And I'm going to hit save changes just to lock them in. And then we'll edit again. We're almost done with the basics. We'll probably take skilled Sorry, no, we'll take the alert feat as a bonus. That's kind of that's really smart to take. Let's see. Background equals alert equals skulker. And let's see, we have 2 powers left. So we could pick up a power and then make it free. We could choose a damage type, or we could choose another feat. Let's go peruse our list of powers to see if there's something tasty in here that we want to pick up otherwise. I mean, we could take no, skilled isn't one of our isn't one of the bonus powers that we can take. And I don't see anything specific. Maybe slasher. It's not a horrible idea. Dueling defense isn't such a bad idea, but if we're doing 2 weapon attacks, then duelist doesn't work for us. 2 weapon fighting. Let's look up 2 weapon fighting again real quick, because that might actually be really smart for us to take that. And 2 weapon fighting might actually be really smart. Let's see what happens. When you make an extra attack as a result of using a weapon that has a light property, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of that attack if you aren't already adding it to damage. That's an extra 3. That's not bad. So we'll take it. Ooh. Now we're not going to take it yet. Dire Impact is a useful sustained power, but we already have Trap Springer. So let's take feat 2 weapon fighting. And now we have 1 left over. What are we going to do with our remaining bit? Because you can always, this is just our starting point. Every time you take a long rest, you can swap one of these if you want to. Target has disadvantage on next attack against the start of next turn. Addle, disarm, impair. Impair is target makes a con save or is blinded and deafened until the end of your next turn. Blinded, or let's go with or. If you're deafened, you can't use verbal components to cast a spell. So it should be or, not and. Blinded makes as attack. There you go. Until the end of their next turn. Is a con save or it's defeated, as opposed to vanish is automatic. So yeah, impair. And I don't see impair being super useful here. And we already have Trap Springer active, so I don't want to double dose that because I want to try to stay away from mana. I just want to turn on and then forget about it. Strikes we're skipping because it requires you to spend mana. We're trying to make this the most simple build that we can. However, let's look at bonus powers or maneuvers. Bonus attack. Make a weapon attack. No, we can't do that because we already took 2 weapon fighting. We only have 1 power left over, and I don't want it to cost mana. We could have made that 0 cost, but we would have had to sacrifice 2 weapon attack. So instead, let's go play with damage. Let's pick a damage type. That sounds like the most funnest thing to do. So we have feats, we have combat masteries, and now let's see what's the most fun damage that we could do with our character. As a thief, let's go with I don't know what sounds fun. It's Demir, so it's blue and it's blue and black. We could go acid. Blue is also cold damage. Poison would be optional. Would be not outrageous. Let's go with acid. Acid damages. It just sounds cool. So whenever we make an attack, we can deal acid damage with that attack. So we have the 3 masteries of Nick, Vex, and Cleave on any weapon attack that we want. Choose one. And of course, weapons have, like a dagger. If we took dagger, it's a light weapon. It automatically has Nick attached to it. So actually, yeah, that's a good point. We probably don't need to take the mastery of Nick. And we don't. Oh, we just paid for it. Let's do that instead. Let's do that instead. Let's take. Let's go with maneuver. Bonus attack equals make an attack as a bonus action. This is independent from the nick. So if we got 2 daggers, I can hit, and then I can nick, and then cleave with it, and then with my bonus action, I can make another attack. I can still only sneak attack once per round, but I could potentially get up to 4 attacks per round using this. But I'm only going to be dealing, if I get rid of, I'm only going to be dealing the weapon die of damage with the cleave. And I have 2 weapon fighting, so I can now add my dexterity damage to the Vex. But I'm very happy with that. That is a nasty ombre. Does cleave have to hit to trigger the condition? If you hit a creature with your melee attack, you can make a second attack. So there you go. We're going to take Vex because that's just useful. And then feat. Empowered strike. Sorry. So I want to run this combo to see if this is actually broken or not. If it's actually broken, we will reconsider how we configure, because it'd be the mastery that's the problem, not the bonus attack. I want to run this. I'm hoping I can convince somebody on Demir. Yeah, I'm hoping I can convince somebody on Saturday to play this, because I want to see if this is broken or not. I don't think it is. I think it's going to be fine. And then as they lean in to start using strike powers to ramp their damage, we'll see if that becomes a problem or not. But I don't think this is going to be a problem. Yeah, because they're going to have to they're going to have to stay here if they're going to do that stuff. And as a 2-weapon fighter, that's going to potentially get them into sticky situations. Holy crap. I love this, though. This is great. So subtle channeling, I can always use power, and you'll never see it happening. You'll never see me using the power. You'll know you're affected by powers. People might see an effect happening, but they'll never know that you are the origin of that power. We have subtle channeling. Great. We can vanish. And then, did we not? Oh, yeah, there it is. Efficient power, vanish. I like grouping these together. Skulker, Trap Spring, or Sustained 1. I turn that on. It just stays on. I got plenty of mana left over. I'm not doing anything with it. Which is really great, because the dungeon that the team is going through, some doors require you to spend mana to open them. So if our Trap Springer has a pocket of mana, they don't need to spend the mana. They can just be opening doors with their mana supply, and it doesn't take away from the combatants. This is actually pretty well built. I am pleased with this. I'm gonna add in all the skills and the species stuff later. I'm not going to slow us down, because I am at the end of my lunch. So yep, there we go. It's been 80 minutes, so it is time for me to kick out of here. We're going to get let's see, thieves tools, and we're going to get stealth. Actually, since we're here, let's just go through the rest of that process. Let's see. Rogue equals thieves tools. Rogue equals, and were those? Is that where I skills, powers, feats? No, it's a class feature. Stealth, Thieves Tools. Cool. And then background equals investigation. And hold on. Let's go look at Dimir real quick. Up, deception and stealth. There it is. Investigation. Stealth. Dimir equals deception and disguise kit, and either Dex or Charisma. Well, since we're here, we may as well ramp our stats. So our base stat line is going to be 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. And we're going to get a +1 to a stat because of our feat at 4th level. So our strength is going, our dex is going to be 16. Let's put intelligence as 14. That takes care of our stat gain. We're going to get a plus to dex and charisma. So we can put charisma at 12 because we gained the bonus from Dimir there, and I can swap that gain. Let's take this to 9. And then 10. Wait. 15, 13, 12. Damn it, I'm going to do this over again. I lost something in the mix. So we'll just set up our base stats. 15, 13, 12, 11, 10, and 8. And then we get our Dimir bonus, which is 16 and 13. And then we get our our feat bonus, which is 14 and fuck it. Let's go 12. There we go. That's our stat array. And so we get a -1 to strength saves. We're going to get a +5 because of proficiency. 0 for con. We're going to get a +2 for intelligence. Is that the rogue? +4. +1. Not bad. +1. We'll take average hit points. So the rogue gets what, a D8? So we're going to start with 8. We don't get any con bonuses. And then we're going to get 8. That's 16, 17, 25. 25 hit points. Mana. Our armor class is going to be, let's see. Leather is 13. Dex is 3. Yeesh. 16. Not great. This guy's going to want to pick up some protection magic. So they'll probably find a cloak of protection somewhere inside of here, which will come in useful. And that's our timer. Perfect timing. All right, cool. That's it. We've effectively, so we're going to have short sword and dagger, D4, D6 +3, D4 +3 because we have 2 weapon fighting, +5 attack equals D4 +3 pierce. +5 5 d6 plus 3. Pierce. Oh, I'm sorry. This is slash. That's right. Sneak, attack, 3d6, cleave equals Vex, Nick. Demir stuff. No, we don't get a feat. Whatever it is that you choose. We'll let the player decide on the species. We'll probably just go with human for all of these, just for the lulz. That's our save. Okay, cool. So that's our simple rogue thief, and this is now at the table, as well as the simple fighter battle masters. Neither one of these require the use of mana. I mean, we have the trap springer, but once you turn on, you don't use it again. It's very low mana management. All feats, masteries, fighting styles. There you go. All right. Well, hey, that's it for today. I'm going to be back. I'll be back tomorrow morning to do more Eberron art. I'll be back tomorrow night to continue working on the Bastion campaign supplement that we'll be publishing on DMsGuild. On Friday morning, I'll be back. On Friday lunchtime like this, we'll be working on, we'll build a barbarian next, a simple barbarian. And then Saturday early morning, we might continue working on this stuff just to get things padded out for our playtest. And then I'll be playtesting on my Discord server at Saturday morning here in Seattle around 9:30ish. And then we'll be off on Sunday, and we'll be back on Monday to do art in the morning. And then we'll be on doing the Bastion campaign on Monday night. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we just roll through it. All right, so that's it for now, guys. Thanks a lot for tagging along. If you have any questions, join my Discord community. I am here, obviously, a lot. So if you want to join the channel and like, subscribe, get notifications. We do artwork, we do game design, we answer questions, we play test, we have fun. So I will see you guys all on the other side. Thanks a lot.